And now we'll just get into some questions that people have asked before we sort of close for today's event. So first question probably is to Paul around, will the wage subsidy include business directors or only staff?
Okay, so in this, there's probably two groups of, I guess, businesses that this might fit into. So a business that has a traditional employee base, the understanding is that it will be tied to traditional employee arrangements, so those that are recorded under single touch payroll. There is some wording around businesses without employees, so they may be single director businesses, and in that example, one individual can be allocated as a recipient of the JobKeeper payment in relation to that.
Cool. Thanks, Paul. So another question, if home loans are deferred or suspended, can you confirm if this means a pause on payments, or in 3 to 6 months' time we'll owe all the payments? I think, Paul, you sort of touched upon that, Paul Gersler. So maybe you can just confirm that.
Look, it's like it. Yeah, it's more accurately called a suspension of payments. I mean, they will be obviously you will still need to make the principal up over a longer period of that loan going forward, and equally the interest will not be sort of abated. It will actually be suspended and capitalised into the loan effectively. So there's no free lunches here, unfortunately, but it is certainly this is all about boosting the cash flows of the clients in effect, and getting through this what is a difficult and different sort of time.
Thank you. With the government guaranteeing 50% of the SME loan, how much easier will it be to get loans? So that's on that the unsecured $250,000 loan that they announced in, I think, the second stimulus package. So, Paul, I'm not sure if you've got enough detail around that at this particular point in time, but just answer as best you can.
Well, Caroline and I can answer that, but effectively, if you're an existing client of that bank, for example, if you're a Westpac client, the process is relatively simple. If you're a new to bank client, we will probably have to do our full credit process. Where it helps is where you don't have sufficient security, and that does help the bank facilitate the loan. But if you're a Westpac client, Caroline, do you want to comment on that?
If you're a Westpac client, but also a borrower, importantly, so if you have lending facility already, but you might have capped out because of a lack of security, this loan is fantastic. So you go to your bank, you make an application. Well, when I say you talk to your banker about getting an increase of up to $250,000, and all they will do to verify the need for the borrowing is they'll look at your last 2 BAS statements and verify your monthly expenses that way, and they don't take it. They are not allowed to take any other security. So the sole security for that extra up to $250,000 will be the government guarantee.
Yeah. And noting that it is a fully amortising over pretty much over 3 years. So you again go back to your trusted advisor, your accountant in this case, and make sure that it works with your cash flow.
Cool, thank you. This one's for you, Paul Maneri. Job seeker, so can you apply later on, say in 2 months, if your business sees a downturn later on rather than now?
Yes, our understanding is yes. So it's wanting to capture the benefit for businesses at the point in time where they need it. But I dare say there'll be more information on that as the legislation is released.
So also one of the comments here online too is about the fact that, it would be good to discuss some businesses that have been pivoting and probably winning new business in the last couple of weeks. And I think that might be a good forum topic for next week. Maybe, so Mark Bowe, who is one of our sort of close to our firm in terms of a strategic advisor, has raised that particular point. And I think it'd be good to hear some success stories too at the moment, rather than sort of some of the disasters that are going on. So we might sort of take that on note for next week, given that we've got a few minutes left, and we'll get through as many more questions if we possibly can. But I think it's well worth sharing the positivity, which is obviously off the back of also what Sarah was talking about. So next question is another job seeker, a JobKeeper one, sorry. If you have registered to apply for JobKeeper package, can you opt in when you see your business declining within the next 6 months? So I think you answered that a minute ago,
Yep.
Paul.
Yep.
Will the government be tracking the JobKeeper payments with a separate code on the payment summary?
Yeah, at this stage, that specific detail hasn't come through. So yeah, we'll wait further for that too.
Okay. Are the individual banks determining the information required to get required for the $250,000 business loan, or has this been set up by the Commonwealth Government? Not sure if you can answer that one, Paul.
So as Caroline said, if it's an existing borrowing customer at your current bank, you should be able just to provide the BAS statements, the 2 quarterly BAS statements, and they will only be able technically to take for that particular loan the security of that government guarantee, which I understand is 50% of the actual loan balance.
Cool. The next question by Paul Hughes is probably a pretty difficult technical question, Paul. So you might have to, given that you're a good friend and client of the firm, obviously we can take that offline, but I'll just sort of at least flag it as a question, and then we can answer it later. That what happens for businesses that have transfer pricing income based on cost of markup, where there's a lag between revenue falls and cost reductions? Will the ATO take into account the parent's revenue movement? I'd have to decipher that one, Paul, but we'll no doubt we'll be managing that with you individually. Next question. If I have a part-time employee that receives, say, $500 a fortnight, is it correct that the full $1,500 goes to that employee per fortnight?
So the answer to that one is no. So 1,000 of the 1,500 goes to the employee to get them to the minimum 1,500 benefit from the subsidy, and the business retains the balance. Okay,
cool. Thank you. And thanks, Mark, for prompting me. The next week actually is Good Friday. So, off the back of Sarah's comment, we very much encourage everybody to be spending quality time with their family. And we would not run this session next Friday. However, I will run it next Thursday. So we'll send out a note around that to ensure that everybody can still connect and be part of this, because we are receiving really, really great feedback about the fact that we're providing this forum and connecting us together so we can share and collaborate. So we will send out the invitations for that next week. Send out the invitations for the forum as so you can connect into that. But just really want to thank Paul and Caroline and Paul and Sarah today for presenting some wonderful information. Gives us clarity. It works on all the areas that we need to be working on right now. And I'm very grateful that we have and can draw upon the expertise of so many different people to get us through this really, really difficult time. And so I just wanted to thank everybody for their time today, and also for joining us and being part of it. So thank you.